The sun was slowly setting over the small human colony called Brightfield Outpost. Soft golden light covered the houses, the fields, and the old metal towers that stood like silent guards. Children were playing near the main road. Their voices were bright and full of laughter. But far away from the noise, on a small lonely hill, sat a child who never joined them. His name was Tivar. He was not human. Dvar belonged to a warrior species, known as the Valrune. They had gray-blue skin, glowing eyes, and marks on their arms that looked like shining cracks. To humans, they looked strange, maybe even dangerous. That was why Tavar always sat far away, watching others from a distance. He held his knees tightly and stayed quiet, like he was afraid to disturb. Even the wind. Every day, the human kids saw him sitting there. Every day they chose to ignore him. Some were scared. Some whispered stories that Valrune warriors were fierce and violent. And some simply did not want to speak to someone who looked so different. But one human boy felt different. His name was Eli, a 12-year-old boy with a curious mind, a brave heart, and messy brown hair that never stayed in place. He often noticed Tavar sitting alone on the hill. At first, Eli just wondered who he was. But over time, he could see something more, something sad in those glowing eyes. Tavar did not look like a monster. He looked like a lonely child. One afternoon, after finishing his chores, Eli grabbed his favorite toy, a small silver spaceship. Model. It was scratched and old, but it was special to him. His father had given it to him before leaving for a long mining job on another moon. Eli never went anywhere without it. Today, he held it tightly because he wanted to do something brave. Something different. He wanted to talk to Tivar from a distance. The other human kids watched Eli with surprise. Is he really going up there? One girl whispered. He shouldn't, another boy said. The alien might attack him. But Eli didn't listen. He walked up the hill slowly. The grass rustled under his feet. A soft, cold wind blew across the colony, making the shadows long and sharp. Tavar's glowing eyes lifted when he heard someone coming. His hands tightened. His body stiffened. He looked ready to run or fight. But Eli stopped a few steps away and smiled gently. "Hi," Eli said in simple, calm voice. Tavar did not answer. He only watched with fear and confusion. No human had ever spoken to him kindly. When humans looked at him, their eyes were cold. But Eli's eyes were warm and friendly. Eli slowly sat down at a safe distance. "You always sit here alone," he said softly. "Do you want company?" Tavar blinked. He looked around like he expected a trap. Eli held out the silver toy. Spaceship in both hands. "This is for you," he said. "It's my favorite toy. But I think you need it more than me." Tavar stared at the toy like it was something impossible. Something unreal. Among the Valrune, a gift was not just a gift. It was a symbol, a sign of deep respect, friendship, and loyalty. Such gifts were rare and given only during important rituals. But Eli didn't know that. He only wanted to help someone who looked sad. Tavar slowly reached out his hand. His fingers were thin and glowing softly from inside. He touched the toy carefully, like he was afraid it might break. When he finally took it, a tiny blue light flickered in the marks on his arms. His eyes widened. He whispered something in his own language, quiet, emotional. Eli smiled even brighter. "It's okay," he said. "You can keep it." For the first time in his life, Tavar felt something warm in his chest. Not fear, not loneliness. Something like hope. He looked at Eli and spoke in slow, broken English. "Why, you give?" "Because you look lonely," Eli replied. "And no one should be lonely." Tavar lowered his head, touched by the kindness. Far above them, unnoticed, a small drone in the sky blinked red. It was monitoring Tavar for the Valrune High Command. When it saw him accept the toy, a sacred gesture among their people, the drone instantly sent a signal across space. A coded message flashed through the void. The human child has claimed the prince, response required. Neither boy saw the drone leave. Neither boy knew what had been triggered. Tavar held the toy close to his chest. You, friend? He asked. Eli nodded. Yes, I'm your friend now. For a moment, the world around them felt quiet and peaceful. Two children from different species sat together on the hill, sharing a moment that would change everything. The colony lights flickered on below them. The wind whispered across the land, and far away, deep in the blackness of space, warriors began to move. Ships turned their engines toward the human colony, and the next day, the sky would be full. Tavar walked home that evening with the toy spaceship held close to his chest. He moved carefully, almost protectively, as if the small object was the most precious thing in the world. For him, it was. His home was a small dome-like shelter at the far edge of the colony, built specially for Valroon visitors. The humans called it the alien house, but to Tavar it was simply home, quiet, cold, and lonely. Inside, an older Valroon waited. Her name was Marrakesh, one of the guardians assigned to watch over Tavar. She had sharp, glowing markings and a calm but powerful presence. When she saw the toy in his hands, her eyes widened with shock. Tavar, where did you get this? She asked, her voice deep and tense. Tavar looked down shyly. Human boy gave it to me. Marrakesh froze. To Valroon culture, a gift was a binding promise. It was an ancient warrior tradition called the right of choosing. Whoever offered a gift first declared peaceful intention, and whoever accepted it formed a bond that demanded honor, protection, and loyalty. A tiny, simple toy. But to their people, it meant something huge. You accepted it willingly? Marrakesh asked. Tavar nodded softly. He said, I don't have to be alone. Something trembled in her expression, fear mixed with respect. Tavar, that boy just changed everything. Before Tavar could ask what she meant, the toy spaceship suddenly emitted a faint pulse. It glowed blue for a moment, then faded. Tavar's eyes widened. It reacted? Marrakesh stepped forward quickly. Of course it reacted. Our sensors are linked to your biomarkings. Any object you connect with sends a signal to the High Command. She exhaled sharply. They will think the human boy performed the rite. Tavar finally understood. Oh no, I didn't want trouble. But trouble had already begun. The signal travels far high above the planet, the drone that recorded. The scene reached orbit. It sent the full message to the Valroon command fleet, which floated deep in the darkness of space. Hidden from human technology, on the flagship, a massive warrior leader named General Vurak received the signal. His armor glowed with shifting patterns like molten metal. He read the message out loud. Prince Tavar has been claimed by a human child, right of choosing initiated. The officers around him gasped. A human performed a sacred rite with the young prince? It had never happened in their history. No alien species had ever dared. Most didn't even know the meaning of their ancient customs. General Vurak clenched his fists. Prepare the battalion, he ordered. 500 warriors will answer the rite. Back on the colony meanwhile, Eli was at home, lying on his bed, staring at the sky through his small window. He kept thinking about Tavar's glowing eyes when he accepted the toy. He had never seen someone look so surprised, so grateful. Eli didn't know why the moment felt important, but it did. Something inside him felt warm. But outside his window, something else was moving. A dark shape crossed the sky, silent, fast, and impossible to identify. Eli sat up quickly. What was that? But when he blinked, it was already gone. Inside the alien shelter, Marrakesh paced in circles. Tavar, you must stay inside tonight. The High Command will respond before sunrise. Tavar's small voice shook. They think Eli claimed me, but Eli only wanted a friend. Marrakesh placed a hand on his shoulder. Intent doesn't matter. The rite is sacred. Your acceptance means the bond is formed. Tavares' eyes softened. He was kind to me. No human ever was. And that kindness, Marrakesh whispered, will bring warriors to this world. She touched the toy. A second pulse glowed inside it, stronger now. The signal was complete. The humans noticed something strange near midnight. The colony radar operator, James Carter, frowned at his monitor. Strange, multiple objects entering outer orbit. He zoomed in. The shapes were big, too big. And too many. He called his supervisor. Sir, I think someone's coming, and it's not a human ship. His supervisor laughed at first. Probably a glitch. But then the radar beeped again loud and urgent. James stood up slowly. Sir, it's not a glitch. 500 signatures detected. 500. The number alone made his hands shake. Tavar tries to sleep. Tavar lay on his bed, holding the toy close. He whispered to himself, I hope Eli is safe. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring. He didn't know that 500 warriors were already preparing to land. He didn't know the humans were preparing for a possible war. But he knew one thing. Eli had been the first person to sit beside him. The first human to smile at him. The first friend he ever had, and Valrune never forgot a bond. Before the sun even touched the sky, Brightfield Outpost felt different. A strange coldness hung in the air, like the world was holding its breath. Birds that usually chirped at sunrise were silent. Even the wind seemed to wait. The first human to notice something was wrong was the night shift radar operator, James Carter. His eyes were red from staying awake, but fear kept him alert. The radar kept showing the same thing. 500 unknown ships. In orbit, not moving. Just watching. James whispered to himself, This can't be real. He wanted to sound the alarm, but the system required confirmation. He checked again. The signatures were still there, massive, powerful, heavy like warships. He slowly reached for the emergency phone. Meanwhile, Ele wakes up with a bad feeling. Eli woke up early, before his alarm. His chest felt tight, and he didn't know why. The dream he just saw was strange. He saw Tavar alone in darkness. And behind him, tall glowing warriors with giant blade staff weapons. Ele sat up. What's happening? He looked out the window. The sky wasn't normal. It had a faint blue shimmer, almost invisible, but not natural. He whispered, Va, are you okay? He grabbed his shoes and ran outside before his parents could wake up. Rumors began near the colony gate. Soldiers whispered urgently, Did you hear? One said, Something's up in orbit. Another soldier shook his head. Command says they're unidentified. Maybe pirates? A third soldier leaned closer. No. 500 ships? No pirate fleet is that big. Civilians passing by slowed down. What ships? Is there danger? Is someone attacking us? Fear spread like a quiet fire, even though no one knew the full truth. The rumors grew bigger and scarier with each minute. Some said aliens were coming to take over the colony. Some said an ancient species had woken up. Some said it was the Valrune coming to finish what they started years ago. But one rumor spread faster than all. An alien child was seen with a human boy yesterday. Maybe this is connected. Eli heard that as he ran towards the hill. His heart dropped. Oh no, what did I start? At the alien shelter inside the dome house, Tavar didn't sleep much. He sat on the floor, hugging the toy spaceship Eli gave him. The toy glowed softly like it was alive. Marrakesh entered the room. Her expression was tight. Tavar, it has begun. Tavar's glowing eyes widened. They came? Marrakesh nodded. The fleet arrived in orbit 5 hours ago. 500 warriors, General Vorak himself is leading them. Tavar felt his stomach twist. This is because I accepted the gift. It is not your fault, Marrakesh said. You followed your heart. But our traditions are powerful. They cannot be undone. Tavar looked out the small window, toward the hill where he met Eli. I have to see him. No, Marrakesh said sharply. The humans are panicking. If they see you, they may think you called your people to attack. Tavar hugged the toy tighter. I only wanted a friend. Eli reaches the hill. When Eli reached the hill, he saw something strange, a thin line of smoke rising from the sky far above the clouds. Not from fire, but from ship thrusters entering lower. Atmosphere. He whispered. They're coming down. A voice from behind him startled him. It was Commander Hale, the colony's military chief. Eli said in a calm but firm tone, we need to talk. Eli turned around slowly. His voice shook. Is this about the alien ships? Hale nodded. Son, something happened with that alien boy yesterday. Did you meet him? Eli hesitated. If he told the truth, would they hurt Tavar? Hale crouched down, gentle but serious. You are not in trouble, but we must understand what started this. Eli took a deep breath. I gave him my toy, he said quietly, because he looked lonely. Hale's eyes widened, not in anger, but in realization. Oh no, that wasn't just a toy, was it? Eli shook his head. It was just a toy to me. But not to them, Hale whispered. Panic spreads like storm as morning light finally hit the colony. Fear became visible. Everywhere, shops stayed closed. People rushed home. Soldiers formed defensive lines near the gates. Children whispered, are the aliens coming for us? Will there be a battle? Is the colony doomed? But none of them knew the truth. The Valroon warriors were not coming to attack. They were coming to answer. To respond to an ancient bond created by a small human boy with a big heart. Up in the sky, the first ship descends. A massive shadow appeared above the colony, so large it covered half the sky. The air vibrated with deep humming energy. People screamed. Soldiers raised their weapons. Eli's heart pounded as he stared upward. This was not like any human ship. This was something older, stronger, majestic and terrifying. A glowing symbol appeared on the underside of the ship. Marrakesh recognized it instantly. She whispered in fear and respect. The high banner of the Valroon Prince, the sky over. Brightfield Outpost turned dark, not from clouds, but from a single massive alien ship lowering through the atmosphere. Its glowing runes pulsed like living fire, casting blue and silver light across the ground. People screamed and ran for shelter. As the ground vibrated under their feet, Eli stood frozen on the hill, staring at the giant shadow. For the first time, he understood how small humans were compared to these beings. The ship slowed, hovering silently. Then, everything went quiet. Too quiet. A deep, echoing hum rolled across the colony, shaking the windows and rattling metal pipes. Soldiers raised their weapons, hands trembling. Commander Hale shouted, "Hold your positions. No one fires unless I give the order." But even he sounded unsure. Moments later, the giant ship opened. A single vertical crack of white light appeared down the middle. The light grew wider, wider, until the opening looked like a glowing doorway into a star. Everyone held their breath. Then the first warrior stepped out. The first warrior appears. He was enormous, almost 3 meters tall, covered in armor that looked like a mix of molten silver and living crystal. Blue lines pulsed across his body like veins of energy. His helmet had curved horns, and his weapon was a long blade staff that hummed with power. The ground shook with every step he took. People whispered, "Is this the end? Are they here to destroy us?" But the warrior didn't attack. He simply stood still, staring at the colony with glowing eyes. Then a second warrior stepped out. Then a third. Then 10 more. Within seconds, hundreds of Valroon warriors descended from the ship, each one glowing, armored, and terrifying. They landed in perfect formation around the colony, surrounding it like a giant protective ring. 500 warriors, 500 legends, 500 reasons for humans to panic. Children cried. Adults ran. Soldiers braced for battle, but none of the warriors lifted their weapons. Eli runs toward the colony. Eli ran down the hill, desperate to find Tavar. He knew somehow that this was because of him, but Commander Hale grabbed him. Eli, stop. You can't go near them. I have to, Eli shouted. This is my fault. Hale froze. The boy's words hit him like a shockwave. At the alien shelter inside the dome house, Marrakesh felt the ground tremble. She rushed outside and saw the massive formation of warriors. Her eyes widened. This is the Royal Guard, she whispered. They sent all of them. Tavar stepped beside her, clutching the toy spaceship Eli gave him. His voice shook. They came because of the right. Yes, Marrakesh said quietly. And they won't leave until the bond is honored. Tavar looked terrified. I have to go to them. You must, Marrakesh agreed. You are the prince. And you must face General Vorak. The warriors kneeled suddenly. A powerful sound echoed across the colony like a deep drum heart. The lead warrior, the tallest of them all, stepped forward. His armor was darker, marked with ancient symbols. His presence made even the other warriors bow slightly. This was General Vorak. He raised his blade staff high, and the entire formation of 500 warriors dropped to one knee. Humans gasped. Commander Hale whispered. They're not attacking. They're kneeling? But kneeling to whom? No leader had stepped out. No alien commander stood before them. They only knelt in silence. Waiting. Tavar walks forward. The crowd parted as Tavar slowly stepped out of the alien shelter. His small figure looked fragile compared to the massive warriors around him. He held the toy spaceship tightly in his hands. When the warriors saw him, their glowing markings brightened. A deep, rhythmic sound filled the air, like a heartbeat shared by all of them. General Vorak removed his helmet. His face was scarred, strong, ancient. He looked directly at Tavar. Prince Tavar, he said in a booming voice, we have come to honor the right. Humans stared in disbelief. Prince? The lonely child on the hill was royalty? Eli steps forward too. Eli broke free from Commander Hale's grip and ran toward Tavar. Soldiers tried to stop him, but the warriors moved their weapons, not to attack, but to create a safe path for Eli to pass through. General Vorak turned his glowing eyes toward the human boy. You, he said slowly, are the one who offered the sacred gift? Eli swallowed hard. I just gave him my toy. The warriors let out a deep, thunderous sound shock mixed with respect. Vorak lowered his massive head. Then you performed the rite of choosing. You have claimed the prince, and now 500 warriors answer your call. Eli's heart almost stopped. I didn't mean to claim anything, he said. I just didn't want him to be lonely. Vorak's expression shifted, something between respect and awe. Kindness is the strongest bond, he said. And your kindness has been seen across the stars. The entire colony stood frozen. 500 warriors knelt in silence. Eli and Tavar stood between two worlds, fear and friendship. Commander Hale looked confused, shocked, almost unable to speak. General Vorak towered above everyone like a walking mountain of armor and energy. But the only one who looked truly scared was Tavar. He held the tiny silver toy close to his chest like a shield. His glowing eyes flickered nervously as he stepped forward to stand beside Eli. Eli looked at him with soft encouragement. It's okay, Eli whispered. Just tell them. Tavar took a shaky breath. Marrakesh stepped behind him, placing a supportive hand on his shoulder. Then Tavar spoke first in Valrune, his voice trembling. The warriors answered with a deep, echoing hum. General Vorak nodded. Speak in the human tongue, young prince. They must understand. Tavar turned to the humans. To Commander Halle, to the frightened families, to the soldiers gripping their weapons, he swallowed hard. "I want to tell the truth," he said in simple English. His voice was thin, but strong enough to carry across the silent colony. I was alone. For a long time, Tavar looked down at his feet, in my world. Other children train as warriors. They learn to fight. They learn to be strong. But I was different. I did not want to fight. I wanted peace. The warriors behind him lowered their heads respectfully. Tavar continued, "The High Command sent me here to learn about humans, to learn how you live, how you think, how you feel." His voice cracked a little, but no human talked to me. They only looked from far away. They were scared of me. Eli clenched his fists, feeling a sting of guilt on behalf of his people. Tavar looked at Eli, really looked at him, with warmth and fear mixed together. "But you came to me. You sat beside me. You smiled. You gave me this." He lifted the silver toy spaceship. "This is not just a toy to my people. A gift from the heart means a bond, a promise, a friendship that cannot be broken." A soft blue glow pulsed from Tavar's arms. When I accepted the toy, it sent a signal to our warriors. It told them, "I have found someone worth protecting." The humans gasped. "So the warriors came here," Tavar said softly. "Not to attack, but to honor your kindness." Eli blinked hard. "You mean they're here because of me?" Tavar nodded double quotes. "Yes, you created the bond. You started the right of choosing. You chose me as your friend. And now the warriors must protect both of us." General Vorak steps forward. The giant leader approached the boys. His armor glowed brighter with every step. "Human Eli," he said, voice deep and powerful, "you unknowingly performed a sacred rite older than many stars. It binds us to you." The humans shivered, not from fear, but from awe. Vorak raised his blade staff. "From this day forward, the Val Room Guard. This colony, your kindness has awakened our honor. Your friendship has brought peace where there was fear." Commander Halle finally found his voice. You're not here to conquer us?" Vorak looked offended. "Our ancestors do not kneel to those we wish to destroy," he said. "We kneel to those we honor." Eli feels overwhelmed. Eli stared at the ground. I didn't know my toy meant something this big." Vorak put a massive hand gently over Eli's shoulder. "Great things start with small acts," he said. "You saw a lonely child. You chose compassion." Tavar's eyes shimmered with emotion. "That is why I feel safe with you." The colony begins to understand slowly. The fear in the crowd began to fade. Parents stepped out from behind doors. Children peeked from windows. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Commander Halle looked at Eli. "Son, you may have saved us all." But Tavar's expression suddenly changed. His glow dimmed. His breathing quickened. "Something is wrong," he whispered. Everyone turned to him. Tavar looked at Marrakesh and then at Vorak. There was another signal. Not from me, from something else. Vorak stiffened. What kind of signal? Tavar swallowed. A warning. A threat. A silence spread over the colony again. What sort of threat? Ellie asked quietly. Tavar's voice shook. A hostile species is coming here. They followed our fleet. And they do not come for peace. Vorak roared the command. Prepare the defense formation. Warriors stood. Weapons glowed. The sky darkened again. Eli felt his heart pound. Tavar whispered, "Your gift brought my warriors here. But now they must protect your world." The peaceful morning of Brightfield Outpost vanished the moment Tavar spoke the words, "A hostile species is coming here." The colony went silent. Even the wind seemed to stop. General Vorak's armor glowed brighter. Reacting to the threat, "Prince Tavar," he said firmly, "explain. What enemy follows us?" Tavar closed his eyes for a moment, gathering courage. They are called the Dravkan, a wandering predator race. They travel between stars, destroying everything in their path. Marrakesh stepped forward, voice sharp with worry. They hunt signals from other civilizations. When our fleet arrived, the Dravkan must have detected our energy trail. Commander Holly looked horrified. You mean they followed you here, to our colony? Tavar nodded slowly. Yes, and they are coming fast. The first sign. A tremor in the sky before anyone could respond, the ground trembled. A soft rumble echoed across the colony. Eli looked up. The blue shimmer in the sky darkened like something huge was pushing against the atmosphere from above. Then the clouds split apart. Not one, not two, but dozens of dark, jagged ships appeared in the upper sky. They were nothing like the elegant Valrune ships. These ships looked alive, covered in spikes, throbbing with a sick red glow, like beating hearts made of metal. Commander Holly shouted, "Everyone take shelter." Move! Humans ran. Children cried. Robots malfunctioned under the strange energy. Eli stepped closer to Tavar. Tavar, will they attack us? Tavar didn't answer. He didn't need to. General Vorak roars the order. General Vorak slammed the end of his blade staff into the ground. The impact shook the entire colony like thunder. Valrune warriors. He roared. All 500 warriors stood instantly, their weapons glowing like blue-white fire, formed a defensive circle. In perfect unity, the warriors spread out, creating a massive ring around the entire colony. Their armor synchronized, lighting up like one giant shield. Eli watched in awe. It's like they're building a wall of warriors. Commander Holly makes a choice. Hale turned to his soldiers. Open the emergency armory. Prepare anti-air turrets, drones, anything that still works. A young soldier looked nervous. Sir, we can't take on ships that big. Holly stared at Eli and Tavar. We're not alone, he said. We fight with them. For the first time in human history, humans and Valrune stood together as allies. Tavar steps closer to Eli. The sky darkened further as the Dravkan ships lowered. Tavar turned to Eli. Eli, you changed my life. But now your gift must help protect your world. Eli held his breath. How? I'm just a kid. Tavar placed the glowing toy spaceship in Eli's hands. The bond is yours. The warriors listen to your heart as much as mine. You brought them here with kindness. Now they stand with you. Eli felt the toy pulse warm, alive, connected. I'll try, Eli whispered. Tavar smiled weakly. That is enough. The Dravkan ships break formation. The predator ships suddenly split into a deadly pattern like a flock of metal beasts preparing to dive. Terrifying sound ripped across the sky. Like a scream mixed with thunder, General Vorak lifted his blade staff toward the sky. Dravkan! He roared. You approach a protected world. Turn back or face the wrath of the Valrune. A moment of silence followed. Then a Dravkan ship responded with a burst of red energy, a warning shot that exploded near the colony, shaking houses and cracking the ground. Dust filled the air. Humans screamed. Lights flickered. Eli fell, but Tavar helped him up. They're not warning. US, Tavar whispered. They're showing us they don't fear anything. General Vorak turned to the warriors. Ready all weapons. The ring of Valrune warriors lifted their blade staffs in perfect unison, forming a glowing dome of energy. Commander Holly stood with Eli and Tavar. If we survive this, Holly said quietly, it will be because of the two of you. Lile swallowed hard. The first attack begins. The Dravkan ships dropped lower, engines screeching like beasts. Then they fired. Dozens of red energy blasts shot toward the colony. Tavar gasped. Vorak, they're targeting civilians. Vorak slammed his blade staff down, raised the shield. The Valrune formation glowed bright blue. A transparent shield expanded outward. covering the entire colony just before the first blast hit. Boom! The explosions shook the ground like earthquakes. The shield flickered but held strong. Eli clung to the glowing toy. Tavar clung to Eli. General Vorak growled. They test our strength, but they will learn our fury. The battle is coming. The Dravkan ships pulled back, glowing brighter, preparing a second wave, a stronger one. Eli felt his heart pound in his chest. Can we win? He whispered. Tavar looked at him with brave but sad eyes. We must. Vorak pointed his blade staff at the sky. Warriors, ready to strike back. 500 weapons lit up like stars. Eli felt the toy pulse stronger than before. He felt connected to Tavar, to the warriors, to something greater. The next moment would begin the real battle, a battle born from a single act of kindness. The sky burned red as the Dravkan ships charged their weapons for a second wave. Their engines screamed like angry beasts, ready to destroy anything in their path. Inside the glowing shield, humans held their children close. Soldiers braced for impact. Commander Holly stood tall, even with fear behind his eyes, and in the center of the colony. Eli and Tavar stood side by side, holding the tiny silver toy that started everything. General Vorak lifted his blade staff high. Val Rune, he thundered. This world is under our protection. Prepare to strike back. 500 warriors roared in unison. The sound shook the air like a living storm. The second attack begins. The Dravkan ships fired again, twice as strong as before. Red beams cut through the sky, slamming into the shield. Boo! The ground cracked. Tiles shattered. The shield flickered wildly. Vorak! Marrakesh shouted. The shield is breaking. Eli's heart dropped. What do we do? He whispered. Tavar took Eli's hand. Believe, he said softly. The right connects us. The toy pulsed again, brighter than ever. A power no one expected. General Vorak sensed the energy spike from the boys. He turned, eyes wide. The bond, he whispered. It is stronger than any I have seen. Eli didn't understand, but he felt something rising inside him, like courage or light or hope. Tavar placed the toy between their joined hands. Eli, speak from your heart. Tell them to stand. Eli closed his eyes. He didn't know ancient warrior commands. He didn't know alien words. So he said the simplest thing. Please protect us. All of us, together. The toy exploded with a surge of blue-white light. A shockwave spread across the entire warrior ring. Every Valrune armor ignited with energy. Their weapons glowed with the brightness of stars. General Vorak felt the pulse and roared. The human child strengthens the right. Warriors attack. The Counter-Strike 500 blue beams shot into the sky at once. They cut through the clouds like lightning, striking the Dravkan ships with thunderous explosions. One ship fell, then another, then 3 more. Fire and metal rained from the sky. The humans gasped, amazed. Commander Holly whispered, Never, in all my years, have I seen something like this. But the Dravkan were not defeated yet. Their largest battleship, the one shaped like a giant, Metal Serpent, opened its massive jaws and charged a final attack. Blast strong enough to destroy the entire colony. Tavar makes a choice. Tavar looked at the battleship with fear in his eyes. It's too strong, even for the warriors. Eli held his hand tighter. There must be something we can do. Tavar looked at the toy, glowing fiercely. The right gave you power, he sighed. But it gave me something too. His voice trembled. A prince must protect his people. Before Eli could understand, Tavar stepped toward the center of the battlefield. Wait, Tavar! Eli shouted, but Tavar didn't stop. He lifted the toy spaceship above his head. Blue light wrapped around him like a cocoon. Marrakesh gasped. Prince Tavar is activating the royal beacon. General Vorak froze. He's calling the ancient power. The guardian spirits. Eli watched with tears in his eyes. Tavar, don't do this alone. But Tavar smiled small, brave, and kind. I'm not alone, he said. You are with me. The guardian awakens. A column of light shot from Tavar into the sky. The Dravkan battleship fired its deadly beam. It screamed across the sky, red and violent. But the column of light met it head-on. A massive explosion rattled the air. Dust and wind tore across the colony. People shielded their eyes when the light faded. A giant glowing figure stood above the colony, made of pure energy, shaped like an ancient Valrune guardian warrior. Its voice echoed like thunder. You threaten a child of peace. You threaten a world under our protection. Be gone. The guardian raised its giant spear of light. One strike. A single, blazing strike. The Dravkan battleship split in half, exploding into harmless dust. The remaining enemy ships fled into space, terrified and defeated. The sky cleared. The battlefield went silent. The planet was safe. The aftermath. The guardian slowly faded. Tavar collapsed to his knees. Eli ran to him, catching him before he fell. Are you okay? Eli asked, voice shaking. Tavar smiled weakly. Yes, because you believed in me. General. Vorak approached, kneeling before both children. Today, he said deeply, a new legend is written. A legend of two children, a human and a Valrune, whose friendship saved a world. Commander Hyel placed a hand on Eli's shoulder. Son, your kindness did what armies could not. Humans and warriors bowed their heads in respect. Tavar leaned against Eli. You gave me a toy, he whispered. And it gave us peace. Eli hugged him. No, he said softly. You gave me a friend.